main opposition party, Bharatiya Janata Party. And earlier, prior to that, I had been Chief Minister of the state. So we are at the end of the term, going into election very pretty soon. So that's where the position can change again.
Okay. Now, most of the viewers from US, Europe, Asia who actually look at India, they apparently look at Indian politicians as having a background coming from grassroots level. You certainly have the grassroots level, but you have a very unique education and background. Can you tell the readers about your background, where you came from, and how you're contributing to the Goa government?
Normally in India, the background of a technocrat or a well-qualified person to be in politics normally does not exist, mainly because you have to spend your time in politics losing all the perks you get otherwise as a technocrat. But I was connected with the social work long back, and though I had no interest in politics per se, time came when everyone said that okay, this is the right time for you to jump into the fray, and I took a decision. I thought I would quit back in 10 years. That didn't happen.
Okay. This site that we are interviewing for is purely on scientific or everything relating to healthcare and life sciences. So I'm just going to kind of dwell into questions regarding healthcare and life sciences in India and in Goa per se. So Goa has, as I've read, this is based on what my research says, has surpassed national targets for low infant mortality rates, and also immunization program. Pardon?
It's 13 per
yes.
thousand and probably almost 100% immunization.
Correct. And I read also is the immunization program is none, second to none actually today in India.
It's almost 100%.
Yeah. So your thoughts on it? How how has it evolved so well, and what are you doing to actually maintain that going forward?
One probable reason is the influence of Portuguese regime on the state. There's quite a bit of sensitivity towards health, cleanliness, hygiene, even during Portuguese time. Maybe because it was a dictatorship. This doesn't mean that I'm praising the regime, but that was an attitude on health aspect of it. Maybe it was a reflection of European standards which were reflected in the state. It took up from there, and maybe because it's a small state, well educated, almost 90% literacy rate, it has a attraction towards better health care. In fact, today we face a problem not from a normal sense of health problem, but lifestyle diseases or lifestyle problems which are related with which are like diabetes, cardiac, this kind of problems, rather than the normal problem the rest of the India faces.
So there's another, I don't know if it was during your time, government of Goa actually had signed an agreement with India Infrastructure Initiative Trust, and run by IDFC and Feedback Ventures, and this was to set up public-private partnership. It was, I think, a super specialty block within the Goa Medical College.
No, that was thought of during my period.
Okay.
It took off subsequently.
Okay.
Goa government has signed with a company on that, but after that probably nothing much has happened.
Okay. But what are your thoughts on it? I mean, I know that there is something going on right now in terms of private and public debate within Goa in terms of private and public healthcare. Something similar to what
PPP is a good model provided you use it properly. The problem currently is question marks in the dealings. If there is a kickbacks and corruption, then I think that is not a aspect of PPP which anyone wants.
Right.
Secondly, I believe that a particular sector of health services should be in the hands of government. Certain infrastructure, certain like even water supply to an extent has to be with government, because in India it's not the case that people can pay huge amount for whether it's water supply, whether it is primary health care. The tertiary health care, secondary health care may have a component of PPP. So a district hospital converting into a PPP model completely is not an right decision, whereas super specialties or specialties within the district hospital can be privatized.
But so if I don't know if you've been following the debate in US, the Obama healthcare, they say, is public healthcare for everybody, focusing
US
on,
healthcare is putting the health of the nation into problem.
yes.
That is a serious aspect of it.
Yes. So in that, want to understand is, I've talked to quite a few folks in India who say that we already had public healthcare, and it's working well. I know that Goa has a very good public healthcare system as well. Can you kind of talk to us about the public healthcare system, so that we want to understand, or viewers want to understand, how can we compare what's happening in Goa compared to what's happening in the US?
I think the healthcare in US is unnecessarily becoming expensive, maybe because of the US legal system also. One of the reasons probably is malpractice suit and other damages clauses which get involved in the healthcare, which is raising the bar of the costing. That is one aspect of it. The second aspect, probably your attempt to provide to the last mile. In India, we don't provide to the last mile. In Goa, for example, the healthcare is reasonably good because probably we are providing to a level where most of the people can benefit. But there are areas which are still open. You can't go on covering everything and every aspect of healthcare. So we do cover most of the aspect, thereby ensuring that 80-85% of the populations are served in certain matters to the extent of 98% of their health problems. But again, not reaching the extreme end.
But are there any agencies that work with the Goa government to reach out to those extreme ends?
No, this is a very tricky situation, and where probably the US is stumbling now. Private people coming into healthcare should be only limited to certain areas, maybe super specialty areas, and not to every aspect of the healthcare. Because ultimately, let us be very frank, private will be motivated by some sort of a income generation, profitability, and once you think in terms of profitability, you think in terms of more profitability.
Right.
So where does the thing end? And you have all those scams taking place, so many cases now going on in US where misuse of insurance has been problem. I think that is where the cost starts rising, and once their interest comes into picture, they put it to a level where cost has to go up, because that is the only way you can make money. So ultimately, one patient in a lifetime, suppose he spends X amount of money, whether it is in India or whether it is in US, with some change, maybe convert it into 10 times, not definitely 45 times, rupee dollar exchange rates, convert it into 10 times parity, power purchase parity, you have the same cost over there. But since in your case the things are getting in the hands of many private sector, they increase the cost exponentially. That is how where the finances become strained and healthcare starts collapsing.
But one of the arguments that most of the private companies have mentioned, especially in Goa, is that Goa is a tourist industry, and tourism, medical tourism apparently would bring a lot of revenues for the state.
2003 budget, I have made it very clear that medical tourism can be one of the major attraction for the state. For example, you have a patient, he has to undergo a bypass surgery or a kidney transplant or a knee transplant surgery. His family come with him. Right. At least 2-3 people in Indian pattern, 2-3 people come with him. Once he is also treated, operated upon, and he starts recovering, the recovery time may be 8 days, 10 days, 15 days, depending on the type of super specialty operation. The other people who are with him, they will get bored, so automatically you have a ready-made, and once the operation is successful, they are also pretty well, or rather they are not tents anymore. So they want to spend some time using the place as an destination, tourist destination. So you gain both ways. The operative care is very cheap in India. You can get all European, American patients at fraction of the cost. And then you have a concept which stretches beyond the medical. So it's a medical treatment and coupled with tourism. This was the concept which I had in my mind. It has taken place successfully in some areas, particularly dental care. The European tourists who come to Goa would definitely go to a dentist and get all dental care problems taken care of.
One of the challenges which I've read, and maybe I'm wrong, is the depleting state mediclaim fund. Can you tell us what it is and how? What is the?
No,
what is
we
this
don't
challenge?
have any funds.
Okay.
We have fixed budgets as of now, and the mediclaim is annually we provide funds for super specialty operations to the extent of about 20 crores every year. So that amount is provided in every budget. So there is no question of depletion. There is not a case that it comes out of some annuity or something like that. State provides through budget only.
Okay. The switching to the pharmaceutical business. Goa has quite a few pharmaceutical companies, medical device companies. If I drive down from Panjim to Margao, go to Verna, you see a lot of these companies on the road. I talked to a few people from Abbott, I talked to a few people from Pfizer, and they mentioned that Goa government is encouraging a lot of companies to come in and invest. I know that a lot of my readers here and viewers are companies, investment bankers trying to invest in Goa, perhaps in India. What are your thoughts, and what is Goa government doing for them?
No, I would put it like this. Rather Goa government doing something for them. I'll say that industrial policy encourages pharma, and we were thinking of having a pharmaceutical hub. Verna is developed almost like a pharmaceutical hub, though there are some other electronic industries mixed in between. The biggest advantage Goa has is a clean environment, no pollution. So you don't have problem of foreign molecule getting into the naturally. You don't have to take much care. So getting approvals from FDAs and other agencies comparatively is much easier. Secondly, you get paramedical requirement of your pharmaceutical company very easily in Goa. The training is of that level. Getting other staff also is pretty easy in Goa. In fact, pharmaceutical Goa hardly few people know, but Goa contributes to the extent of 14% of 30,000 crores plus pharma business. India has almost 13 to 14%. It's pretty huge amount, and almost about 80 companies, top companies, operate in Goa. Most of the blue chip companies in pharma, they have one unit, at least one unit in Goa. That's mainly because of the environment, work culture, and the clean atmosphere. Environment is also important. There is no pollutant in the air.
So that helps me to get into another question is education. Right? So Goa government, obviously pharma companies, medical companies are coming in here. Besides the air, the FDA regulations, the environment as such, education and the skills and the employee strength and the quality of employees that they hire, staff they hire, is very important for them. So I do know that government of Goa has invested a lot in universities and technology programs within the state. To what extent is that investment done? How is it going to help companies looking at investing in Goa?
No, we have very high level of technical number coming out of universities from Goa. Whether it's the pharmaceutical area, there are almost 3 to 4 different courses and 2-3 colleges which produces the B pharmas and M pharmas. Now it's being expanded also. As also the engineering, as compared to the state size, the amount of technical manpower which is coming out, whether it is in ITI at technical level, engineering level, in pharmacy, is pretty high. In fact, it can take care of the skill requirement within the state for any growth in the pharmaceutical units.
Just a final question I know is that if companies are trying to invest in Goa, look at Goa as their next science hub, or they call the technology park for them to look at, like there have been model technology parks in, like say in Taiwan or Singapore or Philippines or in Japan, and now Australia has done it as well. Is Goa thinking along those lines? Do you, I know that elections coming up, you have so many things on your mind. Is this going to be part of your agenda?
Yes, pharmacy particularly and entertainment. These were the two areas which I think were at the focal point when I was Chief Minister. Unluckily, because of that SEZ controversy, lot of land is locked up in dispute.
Okay.
So anyone who comes after this election, I think he should take steps to resolve the dispute. You cannot get issues locked up in courts. If you are a smart operator, you have to work out a solution to the problem. I think that attempt has not been made by the government because of indecisiveness or the indecisive nature of the government. So once you resolve the problem, I don't think these are areas which are problematic because they are the focal points of the Goan district.
Any final comments for the viewers?
I would say, despite a lot of problems which will be always there, Indian scenario, Goa ultimately is a nice place because the people are extremely friendly and cooperative. I'll put it in one line. A Goan can't be criminal by nature. That is what I feel about the local scenario. So you won't have much law and order problem. What we consider many times politically when we say that law and order problem has gone down is not as compared to other parts of the India. It is as compared to what it was in 1960s and 70s in Goa itself. So while as a politician I would criticize the government for deteriorating law and order, I would say still it is dozens of times better than any part of India.
Manohar, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.